told me I should take I know you guys got a more agenda, but you told me I should take a couple questions, and I'm happy to take a couple questions if people have them. So go ahead.
Can you keep the support for the corporate Iran bill below 67 votes?
So, yeah, if I knew the answer to that question, I would have a much nicer office than I have now. I cannot. No, listen, I'm working this hard on the floor of the Senate. I spoke just this evening with the White House to give them an update as to how we're doing. I just hope that in the end stages of these negotiations, we wouldn't be responsible for what essentially would be an own goal, right? That we would essentially put a barrier in front of a deal that is completely unnecessary. Why is it completely unnecessary? Because there is nothing in this piece of legislation that creates or reserves a right for Congress that we don't already have. Right? Congress has the ability, the day after that this deal is inked by the United States and Iran, to take steps that would prevent it from being implemented. Now, I'm hopeful that we will judge the deal to be sufficient, and we don't need to take those steps. But why would you pass a piece of legislation that is going to be perceived by the hardliners in Iran as essentially a major split between Democrats in the United States Senate and the White House, when we already have the power to affect our will on the deal after it's put into place? So the question is, are we going to be able to at least sustain a presidential veto? I don't know. What I do know is that the White House is furiously engaged in trying to win votes on this. Generally, in our caucus, when they have decided to weigh in and ask for the room to negotiate, they've been granted that. I can see the momentum shifting in my conversations on the floor of the United States Senate just over the course of the last few days, and hopefully we will have the wisdom and common sense and maturity, especially in the face of the invitation to Netanyahu and the letter signed by 47, to not give in to this temptation to try to undermine a deal that hasn't been signed yet.
Currently, the United States does not have a representative at the World Bank, at the African Development Bank, at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It doesn't have an Assistant Secretary for International Affairs and Treasury.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the Senate can, and what we can do to change that.
Well, we obviously were forced to change the rules of the Senate when we were in control because we simply weren't being able to confirm our representation abroad. And finally, at the end of last year, we were able to, push through a number of ambassadors and State Department personnel, but not enough. I don't have, any sage or new wisdom for you. We've got to get the moderates and the internationalists in that in the Republican caucus to make it a priority. And right now, they're not winning the day. So, a lot of that responsibility falls on us. I mean, I've got to get people like Lindsey Graham and John McCain and Bob Corker to care enough about this to make it an issue before McConnell and the leadership. I think right now, a lot of them are busy just sort of feeling their oats on their new committee assignments, dealing with legislation like we just talked about. Hopefully after this recess that's coming up, we'll be able to turn some of their attention to these outstanding appointments. It is the height of irony, just to make one political comment, it is the height of irony for Republicans to go around complaining about the waning U.S. influence in the world and then refuse to appoint people who would be those that project our influence in the world, right? When you refuse to ratify treaties, when you refuse to appoint people to diplomatic posts, when you actively undermine an executive who is trying to conduct diplomacy in the world, you can't then go out and complain that we aren't exerting power or influence when you are frankly spending most of your days doing everything within your power to take away from the executive the very tools that allow them to exert influence in the world. So we've also got to make that plain-faced argument and expose a lot of the hypocrisy that's endemic in these twin efforts that are going on. Take one more. I'll answer quickly. Well, listen, let me extend the invitation that Toby gave to come to my office for current, past fellows, for just fans of the program. I'm learning, as Toby mentioned. I mean, I didn't do any foreign policy in my early days in the House of Representatives, nor when I was a state legislator in Hartford. I care about this, primarily because I've got two little boys at home, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I want the United States to conduct itself in a way that creates more friends, not less friends, less enemies, not more enemies. That requires us, my friends in the House and the Senate, to find our voices on a progressive, proactive foreign policy vision, and we've got a lot of people here who will help us do it. Thank you very much, everybody.